Why, hello there. I am Sin. We are in the Book Nook, and today we are going to talk about a book that is, well, it was ridiculously hyped up. Did I love it? Did I hate it? Did I think it was worth the hype? I think it was overhyped. Do I think it was bad? No. I thought it had good story elements. I like the characters. I felt like it meandered a bit at parts. It could have been considerably shorter, I feel like. And this is supposed to be a thriller, but it felt more mystery, and it was definitely not fast paced. When I think thriller, I think like stuff should be like fast paced, where I'm like, holy crap, what is happening? What's going on? I need to know more. This, I just kind of like sat back and read the story, and I was interested enough to read the whole book. It's 400 plus pages, so it's quite a big one. It follows the story of this camp. And because I am 5 years old, in my brain, it's called Camp Emerson. And where does my brain go? Is like Emerson big old boobies, because I am five. Anyways, don't name your camp that. So there's this camp. It's owned by this really rich family called the Van Laars. And so they send their daughter, Barbara, to this camp, which they also own, and she disappears. And what's strange is several years prior, her brother Bear had disappeared or been taken, and they never found him and whatnot. And so all of a sudden, Barbara disappears, and they're like, uh oh, like, is this a repeat of what happened? Is she dead? Did she run away? What's going on? And there is a lot of characters and a lot of people that are moving parts in this story. So you have the Van Lars, you have Alice and Peter. Alice, after the loss of her son Bear, kind of never really recovered from that. Like, she really, really loved her son. And when he disappeared, she takes pills. Seems like she's drunk all the time. Her husband is a POS. Like, he's manipulative. He's horrible. So is his dad. Like, they're a horrible family. But yeah, he talked down to his wife the whole time. Oh, and when they got married, she was like 17 and he was 29. So, first of all, gross. She didn't used to drink. When they first got married, he would be like, "You're boring and need to be more fun at parties. You should drink." And so she would have like some drinks before a party to be like more social or whatever. But eventually this turned into alcoholism and popping pills. And once her son disappeared, she didn't even want to really deal with reality anymore. And then when her daughter was born, she just couldn't commit to loving her because I think of the loss of her son, and then she was just never really there for Barbara and whatnot. And Barbara is like this like punk rock slash goth 13-year-old. Then, she paints crazy murals all over her wall, and she's kind of a badass. She disappears. Then it's a mystery of like, did someone take her? Was there foul play? And so you have all these different characters. And you get like, you're jumping around in the time frame. So you're jumping between the backstory of what happened to when the little boy disappeared. He disappeared when he was like 8. And what happened with him and his grandfather, who he hated. Well, okay, I don't know if the 8-year-old hated him, but he didn't like his grandfather and he seemed kind of like scared of him. But they were going on a walk and a hike in the woods. And apparently, Bear was like, I wanted to go back for my pocket knife. So the grandpa was like, okay, well, go run back for your knife. And then Bear never came back and he disappeared. So suspicious. So you have a suspicion on the grandfather, especially because he's a giant a-hole. All right. Okay. So did the grandfather do it? I don't know. Then you have this other guy who's like the son of the family's lawyer. His name's John Paul. He's an alcoholic. He likes to do drugs. He's just a douchebag and he's freaking horrible. And so it seems like, too, if neither of these kids are around, he's the heir to all of the Van Laar's fortune. So is it possible him and his family are, shady and might have something to do with this? Okay. And then you have like the person who runs the camp, which is TJ Hewitt. Her father used to run the camp Vic, but he's had memory loss and problems, so now she takes care of him and she runs stuff. There seems to be some suspicion too, because like when Barbara disappeared, like TJ was close with Bear and TJ was also close with Barbara. And so TJ is she 23? I think she's like 23, and then Barbara's like 13. And so you find out as you like go through the stories, because it flips back and forth between, I think it's like when Bear disappeared, which was several years in the past, and then you get coming into camp, and then you get when Barbara disappeared, and then a flashback of 2 months prior. So you get some of the relationships with like Barbara and meeting one of her camp bunkmates and them becoming friends, this other girl Tracy. So like Tracy got to know Barbara, and so you like pick up clues from these stories that are bouncing around, and sometimes that can be disorienting. So you have that. But yeah, with TJ, it comes to light that like Barbara was like going off to meet up with her at night and like going to her cabin and stuff. And it's like, okay, so if she was going there, what does TJ know? Does she know something? Does she know, like, did Barbara disappear or did someone take her? Or who knows? Like, did TJ do something? I don't know. So there's a lot of suspicion on all these different people. And I thought it was a decent story. Was it worth the hype? No. But it was still good. Like, I enjoyed my time reading it. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I think a lot of could have been trimmed out of it. I thought there was too much fat that was just like some parts that kind of slogged, but at the core, like there was a decent story there. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't have read the whole thing. If you know it's super hyped up, I feel like you can only be disappointed reading it. I don't know. I thought the characters were decent. It was a good mystery. Like I said, it didn't feel like a thriller. It was more mystery. It's marketed, I think, as mystery thriller, but I didn't really think it was really thriller. I thought it was more mystery and a slow moving one at that, especially because you have so many pages you have to get through. But I like stories that have like an outdoor setting and all that as well. I didn't think the title really fit the book, God of the Woods, because there's one flippin' mention of it. And there's no one who's really a god of the woods, like, unless you consider maybe TJ, because she was like an amazing outdoors person. Put her in the wilderness, she's surviving for months and months and fine. She's self-sufficient, she'll build a shelter, she'll hunt, she'll trap, she'll do whatever. She's cool. But like the whole reference was, so Pan was the god of the woods, and then it was in reference to the word panic, and the word panic came from the Greek, which Pan, who is the god of the woods, and that was like the only mention of it. And I'm like, this should have had a different title, because I don't know, the title alone too kind of like leads you to expect something more. Overall, decent, not amazing, not bad. I think that's my final word on it. Would I recommend it? I don't know. Listening to me and what I just said, if it still sounds intriguing to you, by all means read it, but don't believe the hype because you might be disappointed. Now, if you are a fan of thrillers, the next video coming up will be a thriller that is more thrilling. Also, if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.